Tyrita Julius of Linden, vanishing 5 months ago after she visited a friend in Long Branch. Her body found last night, buried in that backyard of a home in Long Branch. Now that friend, along with a man, are charged with her murder. What we still don't know is why she was killed.
Jennifer Sweeney was born in New Jersey in 1984. She was raised by her mother. During high school, she became friends with a guy named Andre Harris. Even after high school, the two remained close. Jennifer began a career at Comcast, and Andre coached a traveling softball team. In 2014, Jennifer met Tyrita Julius, a single mother of two who was born on June 6, 1974, in Elizabeth, New Jersey. They met through the Middlesex County chapter of the Rough Riders Motorcycle Club. The two soon began dating. According to Tyrita's family, they always thought Jennifer was a bit off. On November 24, 2015, at around 7 p.m., Tyrita and her 15-year-old daughter were getting into their Toyota Camry outside of their Linden, New Jersey home. A man in dark-colored clothing walked up to the passenger side of the car and began talking to the 15-year-old girl. As they got into their car to leave, the assailant pulled out a handgun and fired multiple shots into the car at close range. Tyrita tried to drive off. Tyrita was hit 8 times in the torso and pelvis, and her daughter was hit once in the wrist and grazed on her face. When Linden police arrived, they found the Camry had struck a fence and utility pole just a few blocks away from her home. Tyrita was slumped over in the driver's seat and her daughter was sitting in the passenger seat hysterical. The gunman reportedly got away on foot. Witnesses described the man as having a heavy build, about 6 feet, and in his 30s. Tyrita survived the shooting, but she spent months in the hospital rehabilitating. As her girlfriend, Jennifer was right by her side. On the evening of March 8, 2016, Tyrita's family was expecting her to be home after spending the day with Jennifer, but she never arrived. They called Jennifer, who said she dropped her off at the train station, but doesn't know where she went after that. The following day, after still no word from Tyrita, her mother, Queen, called and reported her daughter missing. A joint task force was created on March 11, 2016, to track her down. 5 months later, on August 16, 2016, there was a discovery at the home of Andre Harris.
As many of you know, there was an extensive search that was conducted yesterday by members of our office. During that search in the backyard, Tyrita's body was recovered in a little under 3 feet of soil wrapped in a plastic tarp. Nearby, we recovered a shovel that we believe was used to bury her back there. Tyrita's body was brought to the Middlesex County Medical Examiner's office, and just today they confirmed the identity, that being Tyrita Julius. In a nutshell, our investigation revealed that Sweeney and Harris murdered Tyrita in the area of Long Branch, New Jersey, and buried her body in the backyard at 228 Joline Avenue. This was known to be Andre Harris's residence.
Tyrita Julius was 41 years old. Andre was detained and immediately confessed his side of the story. He claimed that Jennifer and Tyrita showed up in his driveway on the night of March 8, 2016. Jennifer came to his back door to ask to borrow an electrical cord. She took his cord back to her car, and about 10 minutes later she came back with a gun. He said she threatened to kill him and his kids if she didn't help her dispose of Tyrita's body. He said when he went to her car he saw Tyrita's lifeless body in the passenger seat of the car with his electrical cord tied around her neck. He helped remove the body and placed her in 2 garbage bags. Then they dug a shallow ditch in his backyard and buried her body. Andre said that wasn't the first time Jennifer had threatened his children's lives if he didn't help her get rid of Tyrita. He confessed to being the masked shooter who struck Tyrita and her daughter in November of 2015. He claimed it was only because Jennifer threatened him, and he didn't even know Tyrita, but he admitted that she also paid him. Jennifer and Andre were subsequently charged with a myriad of crimes including first-degree murder. Andre negotiated a plea agreement and agreed to testify against Jennifer at trial, recounting everything he said in his statement to the police. While many doubted the narrative that Andre, at his size, was in any way intimidated by the much smaller Jennifer, he claimed he was seriously fearful of her because he thought she was psychotic. When asked the one unanswered question at trial, why, Andre said it was all because Jennifer believed that Tyrita was cheating on her. As part of his plea agreement, Andre Harris was sentenced to 16 years in prison at the age of 37. He issued an apology to the Julius family.
I ask everybody in this courtroom to forgive me.
I gotta go. This guy shot a 16-year-old. I want to hear this nonsense.
At trial, prosecutors argued that after her hitman failed to do the job, Jennifer decided to take matters into her own hands. They believe Jennifer lured Tyrita out on a date where she ambushed her and strangled her to death with an electrical cord in Andre's driveway. After a month-long trial, Jennifer was convicted of first-degree murder and attempted murder on September 3, 2021. On May 9, 2022, Jennifer Sweeney was sentenced to a total of 95 years in prison. She received 20 years for attempted murder and 75 years for murder at the age of 38. Rest in peace to Tyrita Julius.